Brian, by Marc Moore. Brian was a big man. He often thought the only attribute he possessed that could be considered above average was his girth. There was some truth to that. In fact, that truth was the sum of Brian's life. An average life, lived by an average man having average adventures. That was until life decided to throw Brian a bit of a curveball. That's a lie. It wasn't life throwing a curveball. I'm not sure life knew how to throw, or if it did, it certainly didn't go around tossing balls. But the Grim Reaper did. Death knows how to throw big, scary spheroids of annihilation. When death takes aim, you better be nimble enough to dodge. Brian was a big man, and nimble he was not. 1 minute, you're enjoying a chilly evening stroll, doner kebab in hand. The next minute, you've slipped on the slimy shite of Mrs. Evans' pet schnauzer, cracked your skull on the concrete, and died. Brian was remarkable in death, in all the ways he wasn't in life. Brian's essence lingered, hovering above the shit-stained kebab-covered meat sock he once called his body. You would think that Brian would have been distraught to discover he was now an ethereal cloud of non-existence. Nothing could be further from the truth. The feeling of liberation when shedding 100% of your body weight cannot be underestimated. Brian's release was short-lived. Whilst taking his new non-corporeal self for a test drive, he discovered an issue. It was an unexpected issue given the lack of restraints. It seems that despite the lack of explanation, there was one rather major drawback to being a ghost. Brian could not leave Brian. Or rather, Brian the ghost could not separate himself from Brian the corpse. Brian tried taking a proverbial run-up. He tried to casually float away. He willed himself to be apart. He tried to force himself through the invisible force field, holding him prisoner. Brian even tried to sneak away from himself. All to no avail. Shit, he would have said, given vocal cords. Shit turned to bollocks. Bollocks turned to, oh, for fuck's sake. What happened next was the second least average thing to happen to Brian that day. Shitty Kebab Brian started to twitch and move. Groans and moans emanated from somewhere deep at the back of his throat. After a moment of animalistic self-realisation, Dead Brian reanimated into something. Something not Brian. Floaty Cloud Brian was not impressed with this non-Brian imposter, now twitching, groaning and shambling up the street, dragging poor Vapour Brian along behind like a floating thought bubble. Fucking typical, thought thinking Brian. Ugh, said the other Brian. The essence of Brian was now along for the ride, as this new non-Brian shuffled his way along the street, annoyingly treading in dog poop without slipping over, and edging towards a nightclub that a live Brian would never have dared go into. Nightclubs were nice to admire from across the street, watching as the beautiful women walked in through the entrance wearing their short skirts and high heels. That's how you enjoy nightclubs. But resurrected Brian gave no fucks on this day about the proper protocol where nightclubs and Brians were concerned. Meaty brainless Brian simply lunged towards the door and barged his large form directly into the heaving cauldron of bodies inside. The thoughtful Brian ghost was lost for words when he entered this wonderland of heaving semi-naked flesh. What a sight for a Brian to see! The meathead me might be thick as pig shit, but he has good taste, thought Brian, as Zombie Brian selected a glamorous looking woman dressed in a simple black lace dress that was barely long enough. She was an Amazonian of a woman, with incredible heaving cleavage and silky smooth thighs. Once selected, he staggered over towards her while she moved seamlessly along to the music on the dance floor. He wrapped his mammoth hands around her body tightly and violently grabbed her breasts. Brian the Brain laughed, whooped and hollered as all of his secret desires came to life. Oh shit, wow! Zombie Brian somehow ignored the ear-piercing screams that emanated from the blonde woman and her friends. He opened his mouth wide and lunged his manky teeth into her neck. He continued biting great chunks of flesh and tendons, ripping and shredding as he tore, devouring her deliciously soft flesh, swallowing the meat to sit in his huge real gut along with the kebab meat from earlier. Ghostly Brian was panicked, nauseous and disgusted. If he could vomit, he would. Despite having no sense of smell, he could swear he could smell his own bile. No, 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 fuck me, no! Fucking hell, zombie me. Why are you such an absolute cunt? The end.